Hello everyone, my name is Spencer. I am a first year in the Integrative Conservation and Anthropology program. My background is coming from applied conservation and sustainability. I worked for about 5 years with on-the-ground restoration and community conservation projects. And what I came to realize in a lot of that work was the idea that we could have a lot of like-minded individuals working on similar projects, but the projects slowly became defined by the differences rather than the values that people held in common. So I decided to come to graduate school to look at that. So these divisions are alive and well, obviously, out in our world and our society today. In science, it's at the heart of a lively debate, in anthropology as well. I'm not here to resolve that. I'm here to kind of look and explore how those differences and the values behind them play out in real life conservation problems and conservation issues in real places with real people. And so if you have a look at this image, you can see a lot of different things depending on who you are, your background, your position in society, position within your particular your background. So one person might look and see this browned area on the underside of that cedar tree and think of prescribed fire and the relationship of fire with this ecosystem through time and the close relationship between Native American practices and the ecosystems of this place. Another person might come in and see these different plants in the foreground and easily conclude that this is a wet prairie ecosystem, which is very rare, endangered ecosystem type in this particular place. Additionally, somebody else might come and see these white pines in the background and think of the mid-century conservation push to reforest this area after the 1800s, where all of the trees were cut down for forestry. They might also think about values such as timber values and these types of things, which is right. You know, I don't know that there is a right answer. I think it's a question of values. And in my experience, the values issue comes into very real implication and into sharp focus when you're looking at changing or engaging with conservation, biodiversity initiatives. And so kind of the idea of sustainability is a change-oriented field that's given us really interesting things like recycling and the idea of coupling of humans and their environment, and that they're actually quite closely linked. Also bleeds into ideas of economic, social equity, environmental values. But my research interest is around the idea of value, which is often confused with money, and holding value as a central concept, I think, can get us looking to answer some interesting questions. So there's several different kinds of values. So you can have value like a sense of place, where you're from, those kind of deep-seated, deep-rooted, identity-related issues. You can have values around rare species or iconic species, something that's speaks to very unique types of value or inherent value. You can have values like beauty. Furthermore, there's multiple different ways of measuring values. So the idea of ecosystem services and measuring resources by their ability to provide human services. So cleanliness of water. You can measure it with money, which is a very common form of valuation. So this 2016 publication had a really good point that value as a concept is contingent upon its ability to transcend divisions. And so my interests with my PhD work are looking at these. So looking at different tensions that come up in applied conservation fields. So many of you may be aware of the debate between, do you focus on invasive species and getting rid of the invasive species, or do you focus on the native species and promoting those? Like, I think at the heart of that is there may be some value issues. And so for what I hope to do while I'm here, again, I'm in the kind of first stages of this, is looking at both globalizing and localizing value systems. So you have, at a local level, you can have sense of place, these things that tie you very closely to your land, to your place. They're things of inherentness. They're connected to your community, connected to a lot of relational community-based ideas. On the other end, you can have globalizing things like a global economy, these value systems that are kind of go around the world and are quite complex. My interest is doing a comparative study to identify somewhat of the directionality of values. So what are the patterning of values in two different places that that can either lead to a focus on the ground or lead to a focus on these kind of more global, less connected to place. So I think that's it. And so I'm going to leave you with a pretty picture of zebras hugging, but ask you a question. Do you see 2 or do you see 3? And the answer to that is it's in perspective, but there's actually 3. So thank you.